I'm not sure what's been taking them so long, but these Faithfuls are finally starting to get the hang of this game. Well, some of them at least. Others, not so much, but we'll get to that in a minute. There is a lot to discuss regarding episode 7 of The Traitors, but before we get into all that, please take a minute to make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not already. This season has been such a fun, wild ride, and we're always having a good time over here, so please make sure that you're subscribed before we continue with our Traitors coverage. Now, let's get started. So this episode opens up with the Traitors once again stuck on who to murder. There is officially no more trust left between these three, so it's safe to say that everybody's just kinda sorta looking out for their own best interests at this point. With that being said, of course Rob wants to make the most predictable move ever here and murder Derek. This was just not surprising at all in the least bit because Rob's entire MO just seems to be to get rid of anybody who says his name immediately without hesitation. And if you know Boston Rob's game, you know that he has been just leaving hints here and there and everywhere that he's been a traitor. So the next morning at breakfast, when everyone discovers that Derek has been murdered, it should be yet another glaring red flag that Rob is the culprit. Now, a lot of people are starting to get onto Rob at this point, but a lot of people still think he's innocent and are sticking up for him, which was completely crazy to me. Like, I can't see how anybody's thinking he's innocent at this point, but hey, that could also just be a testament to his great social game that I'm sure he's playing out there, but we probably just don't get to see all of it. Because throughout this episode, we're gonna hear a lot of random people, mainly the ladies, continuing to stick up for Rob. Now, we also get this really interesting conversation between Dylan and Rob, where Dylan just lets Rob know pretty much straight up that he and Britney are his main suspects. Now, all of this information was originally coming from Derek, and I don't really know why Dylan is so upfront about this here. He's saying that he would keep Rob's secret to himself, which I'm guessing is maybe because he sees Rob as some sort of traitor ally type person. I'm not completely sure though. I could also be giving Dylan way too much credit here, but it's like, how else would you explain that weird conversation, right? But of course, Rob is really gonna take the Britney portion of this theory and run with that throughout this entire episode, as we will see. So the players then arrive at their next mission, and before we continue, I do want to give a special shout out to their costuming department here because these looks are absolutely amazing. Alan and even a lot of these players themselves have been dressing down this season, okay? They did not come to play. There's been all these hints of tartan and plaid combined with this prep school look, combined with this dark academia. I am an apparel designer by trade, so I always like to people are wearing. Anyway, back to this mission, which was disgusting. I could not believe they got everybody all dressed up like that just to cover them with icky, nasty bugs and dirt. No, I am not a bug girly at all, so I didn't appreciate anything about this, okay? I'm sorry, I have no shame, I'll admit it. I would have needed me a manly man like Rob holding my hand and coaching me through all this because, baby, I can't do it.
Ciara, just keep your eyes closed. It's all good. It's all good. Ciara, when's your birthday?
I don't know, December 23rd. December 23rd!
When is it?
I would not want to be paired up with anybody like Chrishell, okay? No shade, girl, but we cannot both be screaming, all right? The thing I did think was a little weird here was how chill the guys seemed to be during this whole thing. Is that normal? Fellas, are y'all really okay with being covered with roaches and maggots, or were they just trying to look cool on TV? I need to know. Anyway, back at the mansion, Rob's name is still the main one being thrown around because, of course. I mean, there's just way too much evidence stacked against him at this point, yet he still seems to be making that argument that the traitors are doing this just to frame him, which to my surprise was actually starting to work on some people. I don't know how the hell Boston Rob was able to get some of these ladies in the chokehold that he got them in, but hey, good for him. Rob is also continuing to really put the heat on Britney here and use Derek's wrong theory against them. So overall, heading into the round table, it looks like Rob and Britney are really the main ones that are going to be in any sort of trouble. Dylan kicks things off by calling Britney out, but she's able to defend herself pretty straightforwardly here because, again, she has literally nothing to hide. So the conversation then switches back over to Rob, and this is where we hear Tom Sandoval, of all people, lay out a very clear and concise argument that Rob is a traitor. Wow.
There's also a very good chance that the only traitor that we've found was eliminated by another traitor. How ridiculous would it be if 5 people talk against him, all get murdered, then a traitor calls him out, and we're literally sitting here ignoring all of that?
You know what? Even a broken clock is right twice a day, because his theory finally lands here. Sandoval has just been the butt of the joke all season long, but you know what? I'm gonna give him his 10s right here for this one. Rob, of course, is gonna continue to defend himself though, but he's just using the exact same defense and excuse that he's used the past 2 times. First, he frames this big story of his innocence, and then he goes and points the finger at someone else. This time, it's Britney. My only concern was that for some reason, these faithfuls still have not learned their damn lesson, because we get to the votes and they are all over the place. There were so many people just throwing their votes away, and this late in the game, that's absolutely crazy to me. But important to note, Danielle and Carolyn both decide to cut Rob here. So as the votes are revealed, we do see that Rob is ultimately the one who is voted out. Of course, everybody is cheering and celebrating when they find out that Rob is indeed a traitor. And this time the Faithfuls actually figured it out by themselves. Good for them. Well, kinda. Look, Rob did snitch on himself a lot here, but I'm still going to give them some credit, okay? So now that all of the special cast members, aka the Cage Boys, are gone, I'm excited to see where the game kind of leads itself from here. Carolyn and Danielle now only have each other to rely on as traitors, and now they're going to have to make their first murder just by themselves for the first time in the game. And that decision should be a really interesting one, because their interests both oppose each other so much in the game. Like, how are they going to get to agree? And on top of that, there's really only 5 possible suspects, but I'm not even sure if any of these 5 people are really even on to Carolyn or Danielle in the first place right now. They could murder one of the ladies because they've kind of grouped up together even though they're usually wrong. Or they could murder somebody like Dylan because that's somebody who does have that social pull, but at the same time they could probably both afford to lose him. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Of course, I want to know, who do you think is going to be murdered next? Let me know in the comments below. Also, do you think it's possible that they're going to get to recruit another traitor in the mix this season? And if so, who do you think that'll be? I can definitely see Danielle wanting Britney to join her, and Carolyn possibly wanting Gabby. But of course, that's all going to depend on if there's enough time. Of course, I'll be back here to recap the next episode with you all. But until then, bye.